This is ZNS Total Sports, brought to you by Fourth Terrace Diagnostic Center.
Welcome to sports, everybody. Bahamian boxer Toriano Johnson gave himself quite an independence present last week on ESPN2's Friday Night Fights as he captured the vacant WBC Continental America's middleweight title, winning by unanimous decision over American Mike Gavronski. All three judges had it 99-91 in favor of Reno, who improved his pro record to 15-1 despite having to drop 2 pounds on the day of the fight.
From the very first round, no doubt, believe it or not, I was exhausted and I was tired. In fact, I was a bit shot in the boxing terms, unable to give an onslaught of punches. But hey, thanks to the Almighty God, I was able to pull through the fight. Each round got harder and harder and harder, and my opponent, I'd noticed during the 7th round, he had started to get a bit fatigued, and that's when my momentum started to pick up and a little bit of confidence. But that was not the best showing I felt. I don't believe that is the best showing I've given in all of my boxing career.
Now, with Reno winning his first pro title, this may be as good a time as any to put together that much anticipated bout with he and Choo Choo Mackey, but Reno says he's no longer interested in making that happen.
In the words of Choo Choo Mackey, and I say that as a joke because Choo Choo is history, but Choo Choo said, man, who's Reno? Reno doesn't have a belt. Well, I have a belt now, and this is only the beginning of even more belts. I've always been ready. Even before I turned professional, I've always been ready to beat Choo Choo, not just to fight him, but to beat him, no doubt. And it was clear that I would definitely be the victor. But Choo Choo is nowhere near my level of competition now, and we're just giving him a bit credit by even calling his name at this moment. But Choo Choo is nowhere in the conversation. Right now, we're looking forward to fighting fighters of the likes like Peter Quillen, who is now the current world champion.
The IAAF World Junior Track and Field Championships will take place July 22nd through the 27th in Eugene, Oregon. And B3A's boss Mike Sands says our 22-member team will have it much better than other teams that came before them.
It's a pleasure not to have to go to Europe and take 4 or 5 flights and then get there 24 hours or 48 hours later. You get on an aircraft from here, maybe one stop, and then you're there in Eugene by way of Portland or San Francisco. And worst case scenario, from Portland, it's an hour-and-a-half drive. And so this trip will be an easier trip than most, particularly working also within a time zone of 3 hours versus 12 hours in some instances difference.
The men's Government League basketball season was back on the floor last night at the Donald Davis Gym. The police Crime Stoppers took to the court first, and they made quick work of the Spartans, winning in blowout fashion, 82-54.
The game tonight was pretty much an easy game. We used this game to iron out some kinks for a big game we have coming up this coming Saturday against the Defense Force Marines. So I was able to get a lot of my starters some rest, some much needed rest within this game.
Now, in the feature game last night, the Prison Challengers took to the court against the NIB Kings. The Challengers went on an 11-0 run early in the ball game, and that proved to be the big difference. The Prison wins this one 65-52. Patrick Bryce and Gary Bethel had 17 points apiece in the win. Tristan Strawn added a double-double with 16 points and 12 rebounds for the Kings. Stephen Hall finished up with 12 points. Chara Wallace followed with 11. League play picks back up again tomorrow night at the Donald Davis Gym. The New Province Softball Association held a recognition ceremony recently. Those who made an impact both locally and abroad in the late 1950s were honored for their contributions to the game, and they included Charles Moss, Foster Bethel, Cedric Saunders, Larry Sims, Terry Kanitish, Mark Gates, and Phil Daddio Antonio.
Charles Moss was a mean fellow, a very good hitter and a good second baseman, and played for the top team of softball during that time, the Nassau U Drivers. Foster was the top pitcher in the league at the time, and I can never forget, if Foster Bethel got 3-0 on you, you figured you'd get a walk. I know if Mark Gates got 3-0 on you, you definitely was going to get a walk. But not Foster Bethel. Foster Bethel would come back with 3 straight strikes and strike you out. Cedric was a good center fielder, And I didn't particularly like to pitch against him because he was so tall, and he was a good hitter, had a good arm, knows how to play center field. Larry was a very good receiver. A pitcher is only as good as his receiver. And Mr. Kennis had Mr. Gerald Aubrey, and Mr. Foster Bethel had Mr. Billy Stevenson. And so a good catcher makes a good pitcher. And so during that time, it was so important to have a good receiver. I remember Terry beating me 2-1 in the game, and the next game I beat him 2-1. So it was tit for tat. With Foster and Terry, that's how it was doing the softball. In those days, softball was pitching duel. I was the unorthodox pitcher. Foster and Terry pitched windmill. But my style of pitching was underhand. I threw a lot of spins and got inside the batter's head. He didn't know whether I was going to throw a drop pitch or a rise pitch.
We played for the fun of it. We played to win it. And I say happily, we didn't fight.
And that will do it for sports, but stay tuned, there's more to come after the break.
This is ZNS Total Sports, brought to you by Fourth Terrace Diagnostic Center.